In 2018, I stared at my Upwork profile with absolutely no idea what to do next. I had skills. I could build websites, had years of experience in market research where I worked with for Fortune 500 brands in strategy, branding, and even marketing tactics. But I was completely paralyzed. There were hundreds of categories, thousands of jobs, and everyone seemed to be charging either $5 or $500 an hour. I kept asking myself, what should I specialize in? What pays well? What matches my experience? I'm Manuel, and whether you're an aspiring freelancer, building income streams, or an established digital solopreneur, in the next 8 minutes, I'll show you my path from zero to expert vetted on Upwork in 12 months, how I honed in on what gigs I wanted to apply to, secured my first project, built my profile, and how I learned to freelance without burning out. If you're new to the channel, I share strategies for building digital streams with purpose, clarity, and intention. If this resonates with you, then please hit subscribe. When I first started on Upwork, the platform felt like drinking from a fire hose. Every day there were dozens of new job postings in web design, marketing, and branding. I'd open a job posting that seemed interesting, but it had over 50 freelancers had already applied, and think, what are the odds I'll beat out the other 49 freelancers and get this job? And if I found a job with less proposals, I had no idea how to create an appealing proposal or even what to charge. I saw people offering full websites for $200. I saw others asking $5,000 for the same thing, and I had no idea where I fit in that spectrum. So I did what most people do when they're overwhelmed. I applied to everything. I sometimes sent generic proposals. At other times, I would make very detailed proposals where I rambled forever. And after 2 weeks of this, I had sent around 40 proposals and gotten 0 responses. Not one. I was working hours on end, yet had nothing to show for it. I was ready to quit before I even started. But then something shifted. I realized the problem wasn't Upwork. It wasn't even the competition. The problem was that I was approaching freelancing the way hustle mentality dictates. Always be grinding. Apply to as many jobs as you can. Watch as many YouTube videos as you can. Learn new skills. And if you haven't achieved your goals, it's because you're not trying hard enough. Around that time, I picked up a book called Zen and the Art of Making a Living. What struck me wasn't tactics. It was the idea of aligning your work with who you actually are. That's when it clicked. My entire approach to Upwork was reactive and impulsive, not intentional or purposeful. I wasn't designing my freelancing path. I was just responding to pressure. That realization reshaped how I approach work and eventually led to a framework I call the Flow framework. I'll do a deep dive on this framework in a different video, but I unknowingly applied some of the principles of it to shift my strategy on Upwork. First, I decided what types of gigs I wanted to focus on. I created a matrix that helped me identify which projects to apply to. If I were to create one now, it would look very different, but at the time it gave me the clarity I needed, and I think it's good to use for those who are new to Upwork. The matrix is based on 2 factors: your hourly rate and how well the project fits your current skill level. On Upwork, landing that first job is absolutely critical. It's the classic catch-22 where clients want to hire freelancers who've already completed projects successfully. Just like traditional employers expect work experience, yet no one wants to give you that first job. When clients hire someone, it entails risk that may cost them money, time, or both, so you need to build what's called social proof. That's why in the beginning I focused on jobs where I knew I could surpass expectations. These were great fit and mid-level rates. Each project was chosen because I was confident I could deliver a 5-star review. I charged around 50 to 60% of my ideal rate, not because I was worth less, but because I was intentionally trading income for proof. I'd even tell clients my rate was higher and that I was hoping to earn a 5-star review to qualify for better projects. Here's what that looked like. I'd charge $500, $700 for a basic website I knew I could deliver exceptionally well. I'd over-communicate with updates every 2 days, even when there wasn't much to report. And I'd exceed expectations by adding small touches they didn't ask for. Why? Because every completed project gave me 3 things: a portfolio piece, a 5-star review, and permission to charge more next time. So what happened? In my first 30 days, I landed 6 clients. Not 60, just 6, but all 6 became 5-star reviews. Here's one of my early reviews: competition is low. When things were slow, I'd occasionally apply here, but only when I saw 10 proposals or less. Intermediate fit, intermediate rate. Fewer proposals meant better chances even without a stacked portfolio. The fit wasn't perfect, but it was good enough to deliver solid work and keep momentum. In slow weeks, I'd occasionally apply to bottom right quadrant projects. High rates, but not an ideal fit for my current skills. These pushed me into areas I wanted to expand into, but where I lacked experience. I'd give longer timelines, take courses, or hire consultants to fill the skill gaps. The benefit? Working on projects that energized me while quickly applying what I learned. Just be careful. If you don't meet expectations, you risk a bad review. Only take these when you're willing to invest in growth and the project truly aligns with your goals. One of the projects in this quadrant that I got hired for was in graphic design, something I always liked but hadn't really put into practice beyond some personal designs. One of my clients was a personalized sock store. I created their hero banner and images for their social media. Money zone, high fit, high rate. Projects you're excellent at and clients pay premium rates for. This is the ultimate goal. By month 6, after completing 15 projects, I started applying and getting these type of projects. My reviews spoke for themselves and getting new clients became easier. Once I became expert vetted, I almost exclusively applied to these types of projects. One of the sites I worked on that fit this quadrant was ucxtech.com. It involved UX.UI, design, and development. It was a challenge, but one that I enjoyed, and I obtained a 5-star review from it. To summarize, focus on building social proof until you have 5 to 10 solid reviews, then gradually move towards increasing your rate and the greater fit projects. 2 more strategies that helped me as I got started. Applying to urgent jobs. Clients with jobs that had to be completed same day or within 48 hours typically accept early applicants as they literally don't have the time to wait for more freelancers to apply. Another tip is applying to jobs that were posted on weekends. Many freelancers aren't active at this time, so this may give you a heads up over others. Before building social proof, you can't be too picky, but as you successfully complete projects, you can become more selective. After 6 months, I created a simple filter for which jobs to even look at. No more than 20 proposals after 24 hours. Jobs uploaded a few hours early with 10 plus proposals often hit 50 plus by day's end. Client has good reviews or is at least verified with a payment method. I avoided the urgent jobs I took earlier in my Upwork career, as they put you in a tough spot if you have other things going on. If a job didn't meet all criteria, I didn't apply. This alone saved me hours of wasted effort. Before I reached my 13-month on Upwork, I hit expert vetted status. And here's what my earnings looked like by that point. But more importantly, here's the work I got to create. Real websites for real businesses, a Shopify store, a consulting site for a leadership coach, a portfolio for a photographer. This wasn't overnight success. It was sustainable growth, although I did go through days of high stress, multitasking, and not knowing how to divide my time between completing projects and applying for new ones. Now, so many years after starting on Upwork, I approach it in a more purposeful manner. I have a framework that guides how I approach work and life in general. If you're just getting started on Upwork or any freelancing platform, you don't need to apply to 50 jobs a day. You don't need to be the cheapest option. And here's something equally important. Don't be afraid to fire bad clients. I've had a couple of them, and they are definitely not worth the stress they create. I had one client who would call me on weekends, which may work for some freelancers, but it didn't for me. Others were rude or kept asking for additional work beyond the agreed scope. Life is too short to work with people who drain you, so even when you're building social proof, protect yourself by setting a floor. Your time and mental health are worth it. A few more pieces of advice as you're getting started. Stay on platform. Be wary of clients who want to take the conversation off of Upwork. Although Upwork does charge a commission, ranging from 5–10% depending on your history with the client, they offer payment protection if the client decides they don't want to pay you. If you go outside the platform, there's no guarantee you'll be paid. It's not worth the risk, especially early on. Sell value, not hours. Try to apply to fixed price projects rather than hourly ones. When you charge by the hour, clients focus on how long things take. When you charge by the project, you're selling the outcome and the value you deliver. If you can complete a website in 10 hours that would take someone else 20, you shouldn't be penalized for being efficient. Fixed price lets you capture the value of your expertise, not just your time. If you are based in the US, target jobs tagged as US only. These typically have lower competition and pay better than jobs open to all countries. Clients posting these jobs often have specific needs around time zone alignment, communication, or legal requirements that make them willing to pay a premium. I will get into proposal writing in my next video, as this is a critical piece, and I'll give you more context around the framework I developed for freelancing newbies so you can apply them to your own freelancing journey, whether you're on Upwork, Fiverr, or working with clients directly? Drop a comment below. What's your biggest question about getting started on Upwork? I read every comment and I'll answer as many as I can. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.